Hey there guys, this is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tosuke, and we finally know what Shadows Die Twice is. It was revealed at E3 that it's a game called Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. So Shadows Die Twice is like the subtitle, so that's pretty cool. It's coming in 2019 for Xbox One, PS4, and Steam, and it's being published by Activision, which is kind of interesting. I know. I think most people were probably expecting Sony or Namco Bandai. Uh, this is from Software after all, but Activision is actually publishing this one. I've seen Epic Name Bros a video talking about the trailer, and his speculation makes a lot of sense. How like he was talking about how like it's just kind of from Software, kind of trying to you know play the field a little bit. That makes sense. So I agree with him there. I can't really think of any other reason why they would go for a different publisher. Um, Probably just to kind of try different things. I feel like what whatever company is publishing from Software's games, it would really be in their best interest to kind of let them do what they want. Which I'm using that to kind of segue into sort of the complaints that people seem to have had, or like the concerns that people are having with Activision publishing this game thing, like, oh, they're gonna ruin it and stuff. Like, I feel like it would honestly be in Activision's best interest to kind of just let From Software do their thing. Just let FromSoft do their thing, make their game, make their Sekiros, make their Shadows Die Twice, and all that stuff. We see that also in Disney and how they have Marvel and LucasArts, because you know although there's probably a little bit of like kid friendly and lightheartedness stuff that's like put into these movies, I think. And I remember when I saw the first Avengers, like I could definitely tell, like, yeah, this sort of has a little bit of Disney flavor in it. But I feel like Disney's actually been doing really good about letting Marvel and LucasArts do what they want and just kind of let them run their own show. And I actually think that's really good on them. And I feel like Activision would probably it would really be in their best interest to do that, and kind of like how Warner Brothers is doing that with Mortal Kombat as well. I mean, that's probably the only situation where I feel like, okay, you can do this, but if you need to do this, along with like Disney and Marvel, because like we keep getting Injustice games, which hopefully we'll get a Mortal Kombat 11 announcement pretty soon. I'm going to mention this in the Jump Forces video, which I actually recorded before this, but I'm probably going to put this video up first. Maybe, I don't know. But I haven't seen the Sony one yet, so I tend to be a little late to the party, but I try with E3 to be at least within the week, if not the week after. But we will see. Hopefully they'll announce something cool on that front. But anyway, so basically, yeah, I'm not too worried because I feel like, honestly, it would be in Activision's best interest to just let them do their thing. I think they really just need to, like, okay, cool, do your thing From Software, and they'll be like, okay, cool, what is our thing? Well, it's a game set in feudal Japan, I think like the 1500s. So, like, I think that's Warring States. That might be like, that's either right in the middle or like close to the end of, I think it's in the Warring States period. I don't know specifically where it is. But I'm pretty sure it's in like the Warring States, like peak of samurai time, basically, is what you need to know. And they show a character who gets his arm cut off by a samurai, and then he gets this cool prosthetic, sort of like really crude looking prosthetic arm, and that was actually the weapon they show us from the teaser that had like that tension thing. That's actually what it is. That they showed that, and like, oh, okay, like you can tell by looking at it. And they show some gameplay footage. It's kind of a revenge story, seemingly. They show what you would expect from From Software game, like seemingly pretty tight controls. There's even some like parries or like stabbing moves, and like nice bosses, and your character dies. They haven't really showed us or talked about kind of what happens when your characters die. I'm going to get to that in a minute in regards to the character, but they did say it's going to be hard, as you would expect. Like, looking at the visuals, it does kind of look like, Bloodborne or like Dark Souls, like sort of like that similar like mechanics. But they showed this grappling thing, and so you can like grapple using your little prosthetic thing. They also showed your guy getting like some sort of like little parasol-y looking shield. And so I think that instead of like the trick weapons or the weapon arts or whatever, I think what you're going to be able to, this is my speculation, but I think you're going to be able to take your prosthetic arm and like put little enhancements on it. So I think if you want to be a grappler person, you can do that, because you can do that both like to like explore and at enemies, or you can do the shield thing, or maybe they showed one where your guy pulls out an axe and like starts doing like dual wielding. So I think what they're going to go for is that you can do different things, unless those are all just like weapons you can get. And maybe like what they're going to do is like have it to where like you've got your main weapon, which is probably a sword, but then you've got like your secondary weapon. And like instead of having kind of like how in Bloodborne you had like your main weapon and your gun, in this it's going to be like your main weapon, probably a katana, and like your prosthetic weapon, or you're just like random, I don't know. Like basically what I'm trying to say is like your offhand may be sort of like a specialty technique, rather than like just like a grab a shield or something. Like Bloodborne, it does kind of look like it's going to be pretty agile based. Even though this time they did have armor. It's probably going to be a little mix of both. I think your character is technically a ninja. I think that's what they're going for. In fact, they even show a very non Dark Souls or Bloodborne sort of like maneuver of like the character kind of like trying to hide and like sort of like sliding against a wall. Like that was almost like a Metal Gear kind of thing. So this game does kind of seem like they may be going for a more story driven, like a traditional story driven experience, which leads me to my next point that Epic Name Bro also brought up, which he said a lot of people are probably going to dislike this, and I agree, and I also do kind of dislike it if it's true. But this character that we play as may be like just an actual, like we may not be able to make our own character, which that's going to kind of turn me off a little bit. I'll still play the game and whatnot, but for these kind of games, especially with these From Software like games, I feel like, especially with the way it looks, because it looks like a Dark Souls game or a Bloodborne game. So I'm guessing, I would prefer being able to make your own character, and not that like you can't make a Dark Souls style game and have it be like a traditional story. That's not what I'm saying. I think they even called it an action adventure game, or that's what Gematsu called it in their article. I don't know if that's like an actual official like genre categorization, but this game may be a bit more story driven. Who knows? Again, I would prefer to like make your own character. That's one kind of thing that sort of turned me off from Neo, besides what I've said about my whole thing, because like again, I knew about that game back when the PS3 was being developed, so I kind of had different expectations. They kind of changed it a little bit. I could see a lot of people saying, "Oh, like eat your heart out, Neo. The real Dark Samurai Souls is here." Is like maybe I do think that, I don't know if they maybe got. Basically, I can kind of see where people are coming from, as well as sort of like we're From Software maybe thinking, oh, Neo did this, let's maybe try a samurai thing. It does look different enough to me. It actually kind of looks similar to Bloodborne. It looks unique enough to where it doesn't just feel like Bloodborne with a samurai skin. But it does kind of seem to be able to, it does look a little more unique to Neo. Given the history that this and like the world and like the samurai area, I'm guessing there probably aren't going to be too many like ghouly enemies. Like there might be, I think there are some that they show, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of like monster-like characters. I think it's going to be mostly humans. It'll be interesting to see if they go the same route as Neo and Onimusha, for example, where you actually get to fight historical characters. Like that guy on the horseback that they showed, because of his spear, I thought he was Yukimura. I'm thinking like, holy shit, that'd be awesome. You get to fight Yukimura Sanada, and that'd be dope. Or if you get to fight Nobunaga, or Masamune Date, that'd be cool. But who knows? It could just be like historical fiction where they're all new characters, but it just happens to take place in samurai times, like my samurai novel that I still need to finish. But this game might actually kind of give me the boost I need to continue that. So I'm looking forward to this actually. You know, I'm kind of glad it's not a Bloodborne 2. I think we were all sort of starting to kind of lean towards like, oh, this is probably going to be a samurai or like Asian themed game, and I'm glad it's turning out the way it is. I do hope they let you make your own character. I'll be okay with it if they don't. I probably won't enjoy it as much. And to be honest, like From Software has always done that with their Souls games, like in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Um, they've always shown that character who ends up being an NPC later or is like the cover art. Um, that could be the case here. They tend to do that a lot, and then like it just turns out that like, oh, you get to make your own character. It's just like we wanted to show this character, um, like how they kept showing the Ostrava Knight armor in Demon Souls. The difference there is that they actually had like just a regular sword and shield, whereas with Ostrava he had like the rune sword and the rune shield, which were pretty cool. But yeah, so I think there's a chance that you might be able to make your own character. I'm not sure yet, so don't quote me on that. Who knows? We'll probably get more information as time goes on. I imagine we'll. I don't know. We might get gameplay. I feel like we could get gameplay because they mainly showed gameplay here, and I feel like at this point, getting gameplay. Because I feel like once they start showing the gameplay trailers, that usually means that they're far enough to actually have demos at like events and whatnot. So I feel like, we might get a demo like gameplay footage. I know someone's already doing that for. I know they've already been doing that. Like IGN's shown that for Jump Forces, which I'm gonna talk about later on. But like I said, I already recorded that, so I've technically already talked about it. But you're not gonna hear it until later. That makes no sense. And just other stuff, I imagine. But it'll be interesting to see, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. Again, I'm not worried about the whole Activision thing. I think it's mainly just them, like Epic Name Bro said, them kind of playing the field. Two, even if it's not, and they just went with a different publisher for no reason. It really is in Activision's best interest not to do anything to like mess up this game. Looks fun. I hope you get to make your own character. And I look forward to seeing what the prosthetic arm thing is all about with like different stuff. It'd be cool, like if you could like dual wield or something, like or do like an arm blade. That'd be awesome. And I'm probably gonna play around with the grappling thing. When they showed the horse guy, which I'm guessing is a boss, I don't think that's gonna be an enemy, at least not at first. Showed the character dodging, but he did like an actual like jump. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be kind of like Bloodborne, where instead of like dodge rolls, they'll be like, or you'll be able to roll, but when you actually are locking onto an enemy, you do sort of like the side steps. I'm wondering if in this game you're going to be expected to jump out of the way, because he did a pretty big jump. Like it wasn't like like jumping a million feet in the air, but he did like an actual like jump. So I'm wondering if like that's going to be the thing they're going for here. It'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with that. I'm looking forward to it. And I really want to see more. I think that's sort of, I want to see more. I want to know if you'll get to make your own character. If it's story driven, again, that'll be fine. I'll just enjoy it as like just a samurai video game, no biggie. But it looks pretty sweet. Alrighty then, I guess that's all. This is Flames Around Iki Sasuke signing out. See you later.